So, lesson 5 time, energize your sexuality and creativity. Woo! So my 3 things, if y'all know, as awareness, definitely. Clarity is huge. I just got heardclarity.com. I'm really excited about it with you. And then the third one is definitely creativity, right? I have Clarity Catalyst, but it used to be called Creative Insight Journey. So, oh, look, I have to change this. Oh my God. So this is Creative Insight Journey, which is the course that I used to teach. Now it's called Clarity Catalyst. So part of my thing, but this is the first time that I read it connected to sexuality. I don't teach that. Right? And I went on like a little self-love journey in the last year. And in that self-love journey, I bought my first vibrator and stuff. I'm going to get warning. We're going to get into some stuff. Okay. I'm going to be speaking of some stuff here. Okay. If you don't like it, get off now. If you do, join me. So, Marcella, I'm going to embrace the sexuality conversation we're about to have. Okay. So what was this, out of curiosity, because I don't want to talk about my thing, and I'm going to unripen that story while you're talking. What was your first experience when you read this chapter?
Well, it's funny because the first few times that I went through the actual workshops and online facilitator, courses and stuff, I always miss this class. So,
you missed it?
It actually, well, of all the classes, mysteriously, I always, was not.
Mysteriously or mysteriously, out of curiosity?
Yeah, well, it really, well, I held my container of love and I say, okay, what's going on? Why are you not, right? Present in this. So, actually, that led me, because I'm also of discovering and transformation and really, really getting to see all these places, right? Mm-hmm. I end up signing up for a sacred sexuality healing workshop. Somebody else, but that's a whole other.
I feel you. I recently went to like a Tantra workshop, and I have a friend that she's like a Tantra leader, and she invited me, and I was like, well, I loved, Osho Tantra books, so I'll go to one. Let's see what it's about. Oh my God. I went through an experience beyond the beyonds. So I'll see, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get Ella to come on one of these days. Maybe see if she can do like a Facebook Live with me. Just to talk
about great.
Stuff, right? That'd be some cool stuff. So I'll see if I can do that. So Ella, she had us do these different movements. We did an elemental movement. So fire, water, earth, air. That's my thing, right? So I was like, yes, loving this Tantra workshop. And then she had us put a finger, mind you, still pants on. Okay, we had pants on. Had a finger near that area, right? And man, I'm gonna say it. Near the vagina. Okay, I'm gonna say it. And she had us do this exercise where we kind of went in and out of, getting us to open up our sexuality. Mind you, the girls were on one side of the room and the guys were on another. Yes, there was guys in this workshop. It was so awkward. Right? And the guys were holding on to their balls while we were opening and closing our sexuality and little things like that. She had us, so if you think this chapter is bad, try going to a Tantra workshop. She had us giving food to another person that had they couldn't see. They had a thing over their eyes, and we had to feed them strawberries and grapes and get them to enjoy their senses in a sexual way. So it was very creative, I'll tell you that. Right?
It's fantastic.
So, yeah, really cool. So it was, honestly, if I knew about it, I probably wouldn't have gone, but I'm really glad that I did go. But I'm really eerie about going to their Tantra workshop for a while, but I would still go because it was a great experience that was definitely different than anything I've ever been to. So for this chapter, if you have problems, go to a Tantra workshop. I'm telling you, it opens you up in ways you wouldn't expect. Okay, so that's my story. Woohoo. All right. So what Heather says about sexuality, here goes nothing. On the warrior goddess path, the opposite is true. So wait, let me go back a little bit. Sometimes when we start on a spiritual path, We consciously or unconsciously bypass looking at our sexual nature, Marcella with her mysterious disappearing, believing in it will hinder our growth. On the warrior goddess path, the opposite is true. Becoming the woman you are meant to be requires a reevaluation of your ideas and beliefs about sex. Many people are confused about what sexuality is. If you listen to other people's stories about sexual energy and the stories in your own head, you will hear two interesting core fibs or lies. One is that sexuality is dirty and sinful. Been there, done that. To encapsulate this little white lie, your sexuality must be controlled or you will become like an animal, humping everything that moves and destroying civilization in the wake of your carnal lust until you burn in hell forever. Fantastic. You may laugh, but it is somewhat horrifying how much of this we each carry within us. Definitely true. The second fib is that the only way to get anything in life is through wearing your sex on your sleeve. To encapsulate the second little white lie, in order to be popular, noticed, appreciated, find a mate, and obtain material possessions, you must exude copious amounts of sexual come-hither vibes and wear scant clothing that shows off your wares. For more information, open a magazine, look at a billboard, or turn on your TV. Right? Then, she says, I invite you to toss all your stories about sex and everyone else's stories about sex into the nearest trash can. Now, let's start from the beginning with the information I wish we all had learned in a loving way sometime before the 3rd grade. Note to self, teach this to my children before 3rd grade. First, sexual energy is a potent force of nature that flows through the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and through you. It is a pure as snow core energy that dances through all two-legged, four-legged, creepy crawlies, swimmers, and every plant from seed to blossom to fruit. It's not wrong, dirty, immoral, or amoral. It is a central driving force of creation on the planet. Good sex takes us out of our minds and into the beautiful pleasures of the body. It liberates constrictions and blockages, and it softens our habitual armoring. Great sex blasts us out of our personality and into our soul and our connection to all of life. All right, there you go. Sexual energy forms the deep roots of your creativity and passion. It is the flowing branches of the sensual enjoyment of your body and senses. Woo! So, a lot of the times, yeah, Jessica's like, yeah, I feel you go. That was a serious moment. Marcella, you're paused, so I'm going to keep talking. So, for me, when I was reading this, I was like, man, I definitely have the first fib, which is, one is that sexuality is dirty and sinful. Right? For many years, I didn't have sex until I was 17. Wow, I'm really going into this. Okay, cool. This is happening. Cool. So I didn't have sex until I was 17 years old because I was like, no, it's got to be with the right man, right? That's what my mom taught me, right? That little story. It's got to be with the right man. It wasn't. At the end of the day, right? I thought he was right at the time. It wasn't, though. So whatever, right? And I think that's such like a huge story for people. And at the end of the day, how many people, I don't know, there's different people that believe, oh, it's so sacred, and other people that believe, you know, let's enjoy the time period while YOLO. I'm going to go with YOLO, right? You only live once. So people have these two different belief systems that are completely different. So which one's right? Or any right? There's so many religions that focus on a specific sexual drive or how you have to be. Use birth control, don't use birth control.
Well, same thing with anything else. It's just that this is charged, right? Mm-hmm. It's into shame and vulnerability. Like, you know, enjoying sex for yourselves entails to surrender, to open, mm-hmm. Right? So that's exactly what doesn't happen when you have all this gunk about it. For older, I think that, you know, what you just said is some people going to, for example, I'll give you an example. My mom was gorgeous and she sleeping around. And
do that again, Marcella? You cut off for a second. Marcella, you're cutting out, honey.
No.
Do me a favor. Can I take off your video? Can you take off your video on your side and just talk? and see if that helps?
Okay.
Because your internet might be wasting too much on the video compared to the talking.
It was working fine. I can hear you perfect.
I hear you so much better that I don't have your video now.
Okay, good.
There you go.
So, you know, my mom, for the time being, talking about like, oh, even more, when I was a kid, you know, she was in the marriage that she didn't want to be, and she was actually, you know, been around. And I knew, you know, and different men that we knew.
Marcella, come back. You said that she was sleeping around when she was married?
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, I was already in the picture. So that created a lot of hurt and a lot of, you know, problems. And me growing up, had the belief that that was wrong, that was whatever. Judge and want to be.
Marcella.
Yes.
Okay, you said that that created a lot of belief systems for you as a kid, that you were judging and that was wrong.
That's right. Yeah, and her.
Nope, Marcella, you're disappearing again.
Okay.
Problems 101. Your phone worked last time. What happened to your phone? Did it disappear again?
Just stop.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see if we can finish the story though, and if anything, I'll keep mentioning my little things just to make sure that we're clear. So you had a belief system.
It's okay. It's about what I want to point is that you carry society beliefs plus the experiences that your ancestors or whoever, you know, passes this information for you, what you live, you know, your role models or whatever you picked up. And then sometimes you have religion is a big thing. So like, you know, it's also at pretty much coming back to like with the of the lessons, it's being able to be aware and to look at our beliefs we have, or feelings we have about it. We love with this openness to exercises that maybe was true for us.
Okay, so let me see if
what do we like
without the in-between missing spots there. So just to look at our relationship with how we view our sexuality, what beliefs we have about it, right? And still look at it in a place of love, right? And I always say in a place of curiosity as well, so that you don't have to really have the emotional balance to it. Correct? Did I get that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And actually going back to going back and experimenting from a place of, okay, I'm not doing this to please anybody, to control, to use sex to, you know, I'm not using the old ways of the beliefs that I have about it. I'm gonna like experiment from a new place.
Got it. Okay, so experiment from a new place compared to the old place or the old belief system that you had. Well,
exactly.
Yeah, so that's the next part, running sexual experiments. So we're getting there. Let me see if I can finish this little spot that I wanted to say, and then we'll get to that part next.
Yes.
Your goal is to reclaim your sexual life force in the way that is right for you. Two areas to attend to around your sexuality are your body image and fear of power. I'm going to repeat that. 2 areas to attend to around your sexuality are your body image and your fear of power. So if you feel like something's going on with your sexuality, or if you're not having the big, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop trying to go around it. If you're not having the correct orgasms that you want when you're having sex or whatever, then really focus on your body image and fear of power, because those are the 2 baby versions of what's happening to your sexuality, right? And what we're going to talk about may be able to help you with either or both for that matter, as well as sexuality and creativity, okay? So if you are ashamed or uncomfortable with your physical form, this can have an impact on your connection to your sexual flow. One of my favorite ways to transform our relationship with our body and sexuality comes from Marianne Woodman, one of the most widely read authors on feminine psychology. She invites us to dance naked in front of the mirror every day until we have released hatred or embarrassment and come to see the sacredness of our body. When we stop looking at magazines and commercials and comparing ourselves to who we think we should be, we can show up with the body we have and be in gratitude for our body's capacity to perceive pleasure regardless of our weight or age. There was a movie that came out. I forgot what it was called. If I'm Pretty or something pretty. I'm Pretty. Someone help me out. What's the name? I'm gonna look up the name and I'll put in the comments later if anything. But there was a movie that recently came out. It was with a famous actor that I wish I knew names of now, and it was pretty much that she was fat. She had that perspective of her, and then something like she knocked down and hit her head. And when she hit her head,
is that the comedian?
The comedian.
Yes. What is? Do you know the name?
Yes.
I'll remember her name.
Okay. I will see if we can get it. So it's something pretty. If I'm pretty, I'm pretty, or something like that. And she hits her head, and she wakes up, and she looks in the mirror, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm skinny!" Right? And she starts freaking out. She looks exactly the same, but the idea is that she had this new perspective of herself. She got a boyfriend. She was getting on stage. She was like, slapping her booty around. Like, she was having fun, dancing like a maniac, and her life completely changed because she changed her way that she saw her body subconsciously by hitting her head. I'm not saying hit your head. I'm saying look at the different that a perspective makes, right? So that's an interesting thought process. Okay.
It's Amy Schumer.
It's what? Say that again.
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. Okay. What?
I feel pretty.
Cool. Got it. Oh, thank you, hon. I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, so I am pretty.
I feel pretty. It's right? Amy Schumer. Yeah.
The movie was really cool. Like, I definitely need to see the movie again. So then she says, sexuality is also often connected to a fear of our power. Often as girls, we are trained. Yes, sorry, I feel pretty. Okay, I feel pretty. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel pretty.
Okay. So often as little girls, we are trained to tone down our vibrancy and sass, and we sometimes learn to fear our own energy and wildness. Your sexuality is powerful because it is life energy flowing through you. As you reclaim your sexuality for yourself, you will become more confident. You'll get clear about what you want and what you don't want in the bedroom and every other room in your life, right? So a lot of the times, and I was talking to the Tantra leader that I was telling you about that I went to the workshop for. She was telling me that a lot of the time she helps people figure out their purpose. And I'm like, how the panda do you get from finding and discovering your purpose from your sexuality? Like, what do you mean? And she was like, okay, Jazz, you don't get it. As soon as they find out what they truly like, their belief systems, their values, they know themselves, because to be comfortable in the bedroom, you have to know what you like, what you don't like, right? What you like to do, who you are for that matter, what you want, you have to learn how to speak it. Then people tend to find their purpose much faster. And I was like, what? Cool stuff, right?
Well,
people don't realize that. You were saying, Marcella?
If I may, there's only one life force energy, and it's the same energy for sex and creativity. It's the same thing. It's just that we channel it the wrong way. We channel it from it's dirty, I'm fat, or from constriction, or for distrust, or we use it to for whatever it is. So it's just a matter of finding that power that Heather is talking about in the book, and use it, because you can choose to be celibate.
Yeah.
She talks about learning, like watching like feminine porn made by women. She talks about learning to, know what you like by yourself, on your own, to do sex dates without a partner, just, self-pleasuring. And so all of this, it kind of puts you in charge of your own life force energy and sexual energy.
Yeah, definitely.
And from there, is that you start like doing all these experiments, and the belief that, and just the knowing that it's only one energy, you start using it. You can be celibate. You don't need to have actually, you know, be active sexually to experience this energy, your sexuality.
For the last year, I was actually celibate. Well, I had sex once, but I was actually celibate for most of the year. And I really focused on, you know, that's when I bought my first vibrator. And I thought, I was like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this. It was one of those moments where like I go to the mailbox, I'm like, oh, I need to hide this, right? It was one of those moments for me. And now I have like 3 or 4, and I showed them to my boyfriend. I'm like, look, this was here before you. It's gonna be here after you. Right? So, and he laughs at me, right? And it's running your sexual experiments. So what Marcella was saying, to go into what it says here, experiments range from taking yourself out to a sensual meal, which is practically what I did at the Tantra workshop, to asking your spouse to play out a fantasy, to asking your lover to spend 30 minutes going down on you. Feel into what you would like to explore in your sexuality and then design an experiment. Creativity is a big factor here. Don't hold back. She ends up talking somewhere in here. Oh, there it is. By setting aside sacred time for sex dates, you create space in your life to go deeper and open beyond where you had been in the past. So after this lesson, totally being honest here, I don't know if my boyfriend's gonna like this, but screw it. I told my boyfriend, I was like, hey, we need to have a sex date. And he's like, I don't know what that is, but yes. He didn't even get me, right?
I found something on the web for an experience range in 30 minutes. What you would like. Take a look.
My phone just heard me and looked up experiences for me. Thank you. Got it. Did you hear that? He's like, hi, Siri. Oh my God, wait, let's do it again. Okay, cool. So, what are they saying? Sex dates with my boyfriend. Cool. So I told him that at least once a month, at least I want to have, like, normally our sexes are random, right? Part of that creativity moment. You don't plan sex. If you plan sex, I think that's weird personally. But whatever you like, right? That might be part of your sex dream. So for my boyfriend, Jessica's like, oh my God, yeah, I feel you, girl. So with him and I, we've been doing it for a while. It's been great, yada, yada. Really, honestly, best guy I've ever had. But I definitely still want to bring in creativity and different fantasies and different things we haven't tried before. So we created a jug or a jar where we put like Post-it notes and we put them together, right? It's kind of like when you're bored and I take something out of a jar, or once a year I put in a note and I look at it in New Year's, right? Now I have a jar for sexuality. Woohoo. So now once a month we go into this jar when we're bored. We'll go into this jar and we'll pick something out and we have to play it out. Whether it's, we're pirates, or I don't know, but you got to do something. I don't know why I picked pirates, but there you go. So even how Marcella was saying, even if you don't have a partner, you can still have sex dates with yourself. You can still get creative once a month or more by getting a new toy, trying something new, looking at a different porn thing, reading another article. Just try something new. Test it out. What's the worst that can happen? You don't like it, you never do it again? Cool. What's the best thing that can happen? You fall in love with it, you want to do it every day? Cool. Right? So I always ask that question to myself, like, what's the worst thing? What's the best thing? Is it going to hurt me? Honestly, at the end of the day, right? Probably not. Well, some may, depending on how kinky you get. Honestly, before you start any sexual experiment, get clear first on what your intent is. Cool. Perfect timing. So why do you want to run more sexual energy? What are you ready to clear out of your being? How do you want to connect with your womb? Marcella, you're a womb blessing mother now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, womb blessing, it's about bringing, it's about clearing, pretty much. Once you do a womb blessing, you have a clearing for like 30 days of exactly all these things, all energies that we don't need anymore, and that kind of act out and hinder our feminine power. The womb is like the representation, and it's a real energy center, and we carry a lot in it. So I don't want to go out of the way of the word goddess too much, but it has to do with, this also, it's fun, but it also brings a lot of trauma. And since we're connecting with the ancestor stuff, we even carry things from the past. And you know that we as women have gone through a lot in what it has to do with sexual, all types of abuse, like emotional and sexual. So this will bring out, that's why she talks about being like very mindful of what your intention is, and also a little farther into the lesson, the chapter, she talks about how to be gentle and how to go know where your edge is. So, you know, that for some people, it's very difficult, and the womb carries a lot of all these wounds. So yes, there's a lot of different ways to clear, doing little rituals. This is more about knowing yourself and tapping into, okay, again, let's revisit what I believe about this. Let's revisit how I relate with my sexuality, how I show up in the world with my sexuality. And being playful in a way, and open, and have the belief that we can be, again, we're a choice. But for a lot of people, this could bring things that they've been repressing. It could be either trauma, it could be sexual orientation, it could be so many things. So again, holding the container of self-love and compassion, being playful, knowing where your limit is, and not your limit, your edge, and stretching, that being like very going very little, one step at a time. If you feel fantastic and you feel comfortable, just go for it and experiment and open up. Definitely. Do the YOLO thing.
When you say your edge, you mean like, let's say like a cliff is there. Is that what you mean? Like until
yeah. The edge will be in the word goddess, because remember, we grounded ourselves.
Okay.
When you start, when you start moving all these energies and you start tapping and doing all these exercises, you start sometimes feeling unsafe. So that's where your edge is. Like when you start feeling uneasy, just push a little, go against it, right? Try to expand, but be mindful and don't go all the way, because we don't. The purpose here is not to like struggle more. It's just feel and be aware and be able to witness what we've been carrying, to start transforming it with all the tools that we are learning from chapter to chapter.
So Heather says that there's a Warrior Goddess resources section at the end of the book, which talks a lot more about, information on dating, finding sex partners, and the all-important safe sex talk. So y'all that needed, I'm not going to go into that stuff. But then she talks about what brings out and activates your sexual nature. So serious question. And if you don't know how to answer this, this is a huge chapter for you, right? What brings out and activates your sexual nature? Clothes, music, nature itself? For instance, one of my students realized that she felt more sensual when she was dressed to work in the garden. Another shared how much she loves wearing lingerie under her work suit. Let go of old beliefs and feel into what brings you a sense of sacred sensuality and pleasure in the everyday moment. Right? So think of other ways. So this entire book has mentioned what? Letting go of those emotions, not repressing your sexuality or anger or fear or any other part of the corners, or even joy for that matter. Express it in some way that's safe, right? So this is just another way in sexuality. Get creative and find a way to be safe, but still express your sexuality in the way that you'd want to express it, right? It doesn't have to be no sex or all sex. Like there's other ways.
It's like, and also, Jocelyn, it's not that we go to work and leave our vagina home. You know,
True.
It's like it's a power, or it's an energy that we run in different ways in different situations. So, but you bring your this is a way of integrating and bringing it to everything you do. Like it's bringing that passion into what you do, into finding your purpose. So it is very important to be in touch with it, because it is with us at all times. We express it at all times.
So, thank you, Marcella. Heather wrote a gazillion things that she did to get like her sexual energy out. So I'm going to read that out to you girls as well. Here are some of the steps I took along the way. I read a lot of juicy women's erotica to see what opens me. So 50 Shades of Grey. I watched good women-created pornography to see what opened me. Marcella was mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
I unabashedly talked to a lot of women about their sexuality and experiences. I learned to masturbate slowly and see what my body liked. I put my healing before anything else. I found lovers who supported my healing, who didn't need me to be any certain way, and who challenged me to see what I was, indeed not broken. I found allies, people who shared their healing journey with me. By having other people I could talk to about challenging or even taboo subjects, I learned how similar we all are. Often the shameful or confusing experiences I thought I was alone in having, we were actually shared by others. I learned from other women's healing journeys that it was possible to heal and come to love my sexuality. So I'm going to put myself out there, and mind you, I'm 22, but whatever, screw it. I'm down to talk to anyone that may want to just, talk about their sexual things. Let me learn from you. Talk to me, please, and thank you. I'm going to open myself up.
Well, that's why being in women's groups, it's so important to compare.
Yeah.
Imagine you're 22, but I'm 61. You have 30-year-olds. We come from different generations that we've been through so many different experiences, and we have different tastes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you learn a lot from being open and talking openly about these things.
So she says flow is your nature, right? So really just realizing that everything's about flow. No one can take your sexual essence away, and it can never be broken. The waters of your sexuality can be seemingly polluted momentarily, but the water can always be brought back to its pure state, always, no exceptions. And she, at some point, I know that she even mentions rape in here. I don't remember, I didn't highlight that part. Marcella, do you know anything about that?
What?
I know that she mentions rape in here and people that have gone through that and how they deal with their sexuality in different ways.
Yeah. She says that's when she talks about knowing what your edge is and going and being very gentle and finding partners and she also talks about the way, when you become a victim, it's the same thing. When you have these experiences, you're stuck in them. So you do the same and you keep the same patterns. So maybe she talks about maybe being rough when you masturbate, or being, just getting into relationships that perpetuate. So you need to kind of go into forgiveness and work into forgiving your perpetrator or whoever hurt you, because that's a way of liberating that trauma and the hurt. So, and remember, this is all about going back to self-respect.
Yeah, definitely.
And sacredness. From that point, and she's talking about, she also talks about, how do you feel about receiving?
Yeah.
Like so we try to control it, to control, to give, and we settle for giving because we can control the situation. That it is very hard for us to just open and receive pleasure. So all these things are questions to really sit with and just witness what comes up, and then do the exercises. The exercises are really, really awesome.
I'm really gonna talk to Ella, because I keep thinking about her this entire time, and that's the tantra girl that I know, the tantra leader.
Yep.
And I'm gonna really get her involved, just to do like little Facebook lives. So if anyone wants to talk to her, they can talk to me. I don't have a lot of experience though, so I'm down to learn. But definitely, she's gone through tons of stuff. She's heard many stories. She's done all the research, the certifications, you name it. So if anyone has anything, toxic relationships, anything like that, we have so many girls here. I'm sure someone has it. So I'm gonna open that up and invite her in here to really talk to you girls.
That's right. And if you want to really talk to the queen of Tantra, go to, I don't remember her website now. I think it's divinefeminine.com or something like that. Her name is Carolyn Muir.
Carolyn what?
Carolyn Muir. M-U-I-R.
Muir?
Yeah. M-U-I-R.
Okay, so Carolyn Muir, M-U-I-R. Okay.
Yeah, she is amazing. And she's been doing this for the last 30 years. She's like a pioneer in bringing, like sacred sexuality and healing. She has the mystery school of sacred sexuality. And she's really, if you really want to go into it, it's a good place to start.
Another thing that really opened me up was something called the 5 rhythms, which is kind of like a trance dance type of thing. I did it when I went to Life and Wealth Mastery. I wish Trish was here. She was there with me. And in Life and Wealth Mastery, they get you for like over an hour to be dancing in different ways called the 5 rhythms. So they do 5 different dances, and it really opens you up in a way that's
absolutely
drastic. Yeah, and they go all around the world. There's all types of people that are certified to do rhythm dancing. So definitely check that out as well. All right.
Well, what dancing has is that you can, it gets you out of the mind.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gives you pleasure.
And it's creative.
And, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so the next part is conscious creation. And it talks about your sexual energy is also your creative energy. So now we're really getting into the creativity part. We're almost done. You can use sex to reproduce, a most creative act. And you can also take the theory energy of your sexuality and channel it into catalyzing and birthing anything from books to careers, health to spiritual practice. At its core, your sexual energy is your creative flow. There's flow again. And when you choose to channel it, everything becomes your art. So I love the idea that you are this white canvas and you get to draw out your art, right? That's even comes down from the ancestors part and so on and so forth. Yes, we have, gifts and baggages, and the gifts and baggage is the canvas itself, but what we draw on it is really, it's ours to create, right? So there's a big difference between unconsciously spreading sexual energy around and consciously assessing the vital life force we are all blessed with at birth. One is an unclear expression of need, a way to feel loved through our sexuality. The other is a powerful claiming of our birthright to pleasure, the pleasure of sex and the pleasure of creation in all forms. Now, feminine energy in general is all about receiving. Hello, we receive the dick. We're all about receiving, right? Compared to men, it's all about the giving. A lot of women say, oh, I'm sorry, or don't know how to even take a compliment. So you can definitely start there. You don't have to start with buying a vibrator. No. Go ahead and start with something small. Accept a compliment. That's also about it. Body image and fear of power, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Ursula. So here's a quote. She says, I'm feeling sexual. I need to act on or get rid of this energy, right? A lot of people shift and say, I'm feeling sexual. Where can I channel this energy? Okay, where can I channel this energy? Whether it's gardening, singing, painting, dancing, knitting? Where can you channel it in a way that will be creative? I personally channel it to creating courses and these Facebook Lives and stuff like that. That's where I personally channel it. Yeah, honestly, no joke. So every time I like, are you kidding me? My boyfriend gets mad at me because as soon as we have sex, I'm like, oh my God, I thought of an idea. And I get up and I start writing and he's like, what the hell? He's asking for the cuddles. I'm trying to get into a new course that I created in my head. So water goddesses are creative beings. I believe we have a need to express ourselves in our own unique way. This can be through cooking, our choice of clothing, painting, the artistry and how we raise our children, photography, or even our blogs or courses, right? It is about finding what we are passionate about, what lights our inner fire and makes us feel sparkly inside, right? So that's where our purpose comes. How are you going to put your sexual energy into something creative? And notice that that's probably a piece of your passion and purpose if you're putting it into that spot, right? Creativity is an elixir of life. It keeps us from being dried up and brittle by keeping the essence of our life force juiciness, channeling into new ideas, projects, and visions. Don't be afraid of your passions. Allow them to fill you up and inspire you. I'm talking about your deepest desire for connection, the space where you open to the divine in a way that nourishes your soul and makes you feel more alive. If you don't have a creative outlet yet, keep seeking one that lights you up from the inside out. Don't wait. Step forward what makes you feel the most yummy, from dancing to water skiing to gardening. Okay, so the two main things that I got from this to really get into it is run sexual experiments, right? Dance in front of the mirror if you have to, and definitely just find a creative outlet in general that you can put your sexual energy towards, right? At the end of the day. Am I missing anything?
It's about and integrate it. It's this word goddess is about going back to wholeness, and so this is part of the energy that we run all the time. This is our life force. So these exercises help us just make it part of us. When you clear all the as much as you can, all the shame or whatever you thought or whatever you think you should be, and you start just bringing all this for your own pleasure, for your own power, with self-respect, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
It helps you. Yeah, it helps you show up in the world in a totally different way.
So I mentioned receiving earlier, and Marcella was mentioning that as well. And when it comes to receiving, she mentions to create a date with yourself or with life or whatever it is. So just have like one day where you surrender to receiving, right? So I created one with my partner, and I told him, hey, I'm going to have one day with you where whatever you want to, like, just, I am your goddess. Accept the fact that I will be your goddess for a day. You're going to worship me and I will take it all. And he's like, got it. Where I am not allowed to give to him, right? Because I have a thing where I want to give all the time, like what Trish was mentioning with her money, right? Earlier in lesson 4, I want to give all the time. And it takes a lot for me sometimes to receive. So this is definitely a great practice. Another thing is I found the healing from sexual abuse. I'm going to actually read these 2 paragraphs. I think it's really important for all the women in here. Many women are sexually abused as children or adults, and so choose to clamp down on their sexual energy. Sometimes being sexual brings up old traumas or memories, or causes women to disassociate. To heal from old wounding, it is important to consciously clear the perpetrator out of your womb, like what Marcella was saying. Use your breath to bring love and acceptance into the places that have been hurt, and release any energy that doesn't belong to you. Pay attention to any ways that you are abusive to yourself, such as being too rough or having sex when you don't want to. Change your behaviors to match your intent, to bring loving touch and healing to yourself, not more trauma. You can heal. It simply takes patience, a desire to no longer be a victim. Give yourself positive, fun sexual experiences. If emotion arises when you are being sexual, simply allow yourself to move through the feelings. You don't need to know where the emotions came from. Just let them flow. If memories arise or you start leaving your body, stop and ask for what you need: to be held, for the lights to be turned on. It is very helpful to work with the loving partner and connect with them eye to eye and heart to heart often. The next exercise she mentions is called Cultivating Creativity. I love this exercise. She did it in the workshop that I was at with Marcella, for that matter.
Yes.
I know you know this one by heart. You want to talk about this exercise?
The brainstorming exercise?
Yeah, so I'll give the breaks. Yeah, then brainstorm at least 5 creative solutions to your problem with no limit on how realistic they have to be. Remember that? I know you did.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. Well, she gives the example of anything from your everyday life. She talks about that in different cultures. Actually, the cultures that have less, or that they're like considered like third world, are the ones they're more creative in the everyday things, because they have to come up. They don't have everything like, you know, readily available. So, and I know because I'm from one of them. And so, for example, she talks about bringing something from the everyday life and give them crazy solutions, like, you know, be totally wacky about how you're going to bring. For example, she says, okay, you have to wake up your high schooler at 7 o'clock in the morning. So what do? So instead of saying, oh, I go to the room and I do, you know, I just shake him a little, you start going crazy. You're like, okay, I hire a band that will like play a march, you know, at 7 o'clock in the morning, in, you know, under his window. Or I will put a mechanism that at 7 o'clock will set off and throw a bucket of water on his head. Or, you know, just go crazy and come up with as many creative and crazy solutions. And it's a way, all these things are actions to see actually what you can come up with, and how break the mold that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just shake up your creative juiciness, like she calls it.
I added kind of an extra step to that, because it's great to brainstorm and really come out. Like the first time I wrote something, I was like, aliens came down and brought me money. Like
That's great.
Weird, right? Yeah, thank you. So I created something weird like that, and I just brainstormed different things. But then I asked myself, like, okay, if aliens aren't the ones to bring out and give me money, what's another way that I can maybe find money, or money can come to me, right? I can work with affirmations. So I started to ask myself open-ended questions to find the answer within myself from my creativity. So I kind of added that step. I don't think Heather does it in particular, but I started doing that whenever I love doing this activity all the time. I do it pretty often ever since the workshop, which was like, oh my God, how long ago was that, Marcella? March?
April.
April? Okay, so April.
End of April. By the way, she's coming back.
When?
April also.
Okay, cool. So April 2019. Got it. Woo! So I know she has a new book coming out. So if anything, we'll do that new book with her and see how that goes. That'd be cool to do a
Well,
second.
you know, she says that this book is the work that she came to this world to bring.
Yeah.
So she is so excited about it.
Okay, cool.
You want to know that?
Book releases?
I'm sorry?
When does that book release? Do you know the date?
No, it's going to take a while, because it's with a new publisher and they take a while. Yeah.
Okay.
She has one book coming out now in October that she wrote about. It's about relationships, and she wrote it with Don Miguel Ruiz Jr.
Oh, Junior. Okay, cool. He's
yeah.
in town, by the way. I wish I could go. I'm gonna read the Shuttle Process.
I know.
I wish.
He is great.
Yeah. I have she.
He is great. He is great. Yes.
Okay, what? She? So yeah, I know Dominic Ruiz Jr. is a he, and he's gonna
Yeah.
be down. So that's gonna be amazing. So I'm hoping the relationship one would be cool. I already have. Ooh, hint, hint. Nobody else knows about this yet. I have. Ooh, you know what? Since both of you are here, I'm gonna do this. And if someone listens to the recording fully, now they know. For November, I'm doing a subscription box, right? And what I'm doing is I'm opening up to the idea, because I saw that many people were having problems getting the book on time. So from now on, I will offer the ability to get the book at the same time every single month. From then on, I will personally ship it around the world. Let's see how this goes. This will be fun. And we'll get it all around the same time period. And it's going to come with a book. It's going to come with a free training, with a discount for whatever other thing that I can offer from the author themselves. I'll see what if I can put like a letter from the author, maybe a signed copy here and there as a special prize. And I'm really working on adding more things into it besides that. So I'm getting there. I'll let you girls know how that goes. So November, I have I have a life coach that she went from $0 to making 6 figures in less than a year. And she's going to give us her little secret and things like that. It's going to be the first time that I don't have the author there, but I'm going to have someone that's really close to her. And I was her second client ever. So she's like, what are you talking about? You can do it. So I'm going to do some of it. I'm going to get some
What's her name?
Huh?
What's her name? The author?
I'm not saying her name yet. Nope.
Can I guess?
So for October, it's close to, I'm not saying it. So in October, I have a trainer from the Gratitude Training. I did Landmark personally, but Gratitude Training is something similar to Landmark. He does that. He made a book called Urban Mystics, and we're going to get into that. So hint, hint. November, we have the life coach. December, I have someone huge. I'm not going to say his name, but if you look up Stress Mastery, you'll know him automatically. And he's huge in general. He became one of my mentors. I met him at Starbucks randomly. And he's telling me that he's writing a book. It comes out in December. We're going to be one of the first tribes to get his book before anybody else. It's going to be really exciting. So I'm trying to get him to get signed copies. We'll see. That's going to be awesome. I don't have anyone for January yet. Hint, hint, if you guys know any authors. And in February, since it's February 14th, Relationship Month, I already have a huge relationship coach coming in, and she has a couple ebooks that she's going to offer. And we might not get a book, but we're going to get a couple ebooks. So I'm really excited. I have a good lineup coming up. Woohoo! So Heather Ash is definitely, I'm going to get Heather Ash to come in for her new book. That's like a goal of mine. Yeah. We'll see. And I want to get Dan Millman, Peace of Warrior, Changed My Life. He told me after I get 10,000 girls in the book club, he'll come. 10,000. He's making me work for it. Let's see how long it takes when it gets to 10,000. I'm already at 500 in 2 months. Let's see how this goes. So
That's great.
We're done for lesson 5 as well. So if you girls have anything you want to talk about, I'm going to stop the recording. We can start talking about it now. Beep, beep, beep.